All right, welcome back to the RetroCult Podcast. I am Chuck. He is Mac. Mac, what's been going on in your world, man?
Not a lot, just keeping busy with work. Doing some visiting family this weekend, and unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to really go out and about. The one time I had to possibly do a little retro hunting this week, I was going to Kernersville for something, and I was going to run into the vendor vault and found out that they're closed on Mondays and Tuesdays.
Yeah, I don't understand. Yeah, we've actually been over there to do the same thing and hit the same hiccup of them being closed.
Yeah.
Which kind of stinks, but
I did
you know.
I did hit that other antique store, and my emergency fire helmet is still there for $25. I'm still tempted, especially after the news this weekend that the actor who played Johnny Gage in Emergency passed away
I
this
did not see
weekend.
that.
Yeah, he passed away this weekend. He was in his 80s, and that, of course, made me. My that's how my weird mind works. Is I hear that and I'm like, oh, I should have bought that helmet. I'm
I
sure
mean, I
there's
know.
not a line of people rushing out to get that helmet because of that, but I'm certainly thinking I might end up with that this week.
I mean, that wouldn't be a bad thing at all. Not
No.
at all. Um, I mean, I spent a good part of the week down in
Yeah.
Charlotte working the STEM camp for Wake
Yeah,
Forest,
you
which was
you sent
awesome.
me quite a few cool photos throughout the week of stuff
Yeah,
that
I mean,
you.
I tried to hit some places when I could. I know it was a very busy, work heavy trip, which was fine, but I tried to, hit some things when I could. And yeah, I think probably, uh, man, we went to quite a few places. We hit Rebel Base, and I think you've been to Rebel Base
I
before
have, I
in
have. That's a
Charlotte, and
great shop.
it is, and I mean, I left. I'm not going. I left there a little disappointed, because I did find that amazing Space 1999 stuff, and I would imagine, and like you've been in there. I mean, I was like on my hands and knees looking up under something to even see the corner of that
The
hidden away.
that store, they definitely need to find a bigger location because
Yes.
the last time I was in there, it's definitely one of these places where you are turning sideways to go down
Yeah.
aisles, and I mean, it's great. If you dig, you're going to find some cool stuff, no doubt. But I'll be honest, the last time I was there, it's just overwhelming because there's so much stuff everywhere, and not. I understand this is a business; they're making a profit, but they run into that problem. I've run into the problem with them that we've discussed a lot of times, where you go back to places sometimes months and years apart, and they have a lot of the same stuff, and it's still the same price it was
Same
last time.
price.
And I'm like, it's time to start knocking the price down on this a little bit.
That's where
Especially
I was.
toys, especially the
Yeah.
toys. The comics, not so much. They seem to have a really good turnover in their comics.
Yeah.
They always seem to be getting in new toys and stuff. I follow them on Facebook and everything. They're always getting new stuff, but when I have gone there, I still see stuff that I saw 2 years ago still there
Oh, I
for the
saw,
same price.
and
For the
it's
same
been
price.
probably, oh my gosh, maybe 4 or 5. I mean, it was a long time ago that I went in there. Um, I mean, it's at least 4 years ago, and it was still some of the same
Mhm.
things. But yeah, I think the thing that I was disappointed in is, and again, like you said, it's a business; you have to make money. It was just so expensive,
Yep,
and it's
yep,
like, how
yep.
many people in like the last 2 or 3 years have come in and actually been excited about your Space 1999 stuff?
Yeah, and those dinky Eagle Landers, those were the ones I was actually. Well, actually, I was very interested in all of it. The stun gun, the communicator,
Oh, the communicator was
the
awesome, man.
communicator was awesome. The dinky Eagles, especially the green one, because that's the
Yeah,
one. Because that is just such a weird color scheme that never shows in the show. I don't know where Dinky got this idea to paint it this color. Um, but anyway, I would love to have one of those, and they looked like they were in great condition
oh, I'm sure
overall.
they were in great
Yeah,
condition. And
and
again, no
but
knock to them though.
No, no. But then when you sent me the prices on them, I'm like, as much as I'd love it, I can't justify that expense for that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand, man. It was just
Not that I might not go down there sometime and see if they're open for a deal or a negotiation.
yeah. I mean, if I went back again, and then when we get to it, that I want to go back because I found a new place it's definitely one of my favorites, and the offer that the owner made me is very tempting. But
Oh, really? Oh, I
yeah,
can't wait to hear about this.
yeah, you're lucky I'm back. Let's just put it that way. um, uh, but yeah, Rebel Base was good, and so it was the closest toy place that we went to, and so I looked and started kind of going a little bit further out, and I know that Red Genesis has always been on my wish list of places to go.
Yeah, I've seen Todd Venture's videos about that,
Yep.
but never been.
So we hit up Red Genesis, and I mean, it is like walking into like Pee-wee's Playhouse, man. Like there are just toys everywhere, and it's all. I mean, none of it is garbage. I mean, it's like all old school toys, and I think I sent you a few photos here and there of what the stuff that they had, and it was amazing. I mean, he just had amazing stuff, and so
well, every time I've seen Todd Venture go there and do a video, I always see things in the background or that Todd's looking at as he's filming the store that I have to freeze on and look at.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just need to get there. I'm surprised, that does bring up, we actually have done a Charlotte trip not that long ago. I'm surprised we didn't go there.
This is it's not technically in Charlotte. It's in some little other place. It's outside of Charlotte.
It's in the suburbs.
It is. It's doable.
That's kind of like a Back in Time Toys, or there's Lost in Time Toys or something like that. They're not technically in Charlotte either.
Yeah.
They're on the like western outskirts of Charlotte.
Yeah. So I went there just because I thought it was the coolest. And as we were going through, I mean, I found a bunch of stuff. I got some Ghostbuster stuff for Grant. I got an adventure person. I already have her, but I didn't care. Actually have it. Yeah, I'm not leaving.
I love those space people. I might have to start collecting those. To get the space ones.
They're just, I don't know, man. There's just something about the adventure people that just really trigger something, man, for me. And I couldn't leave it there. And he was, I don't want to say odd, but odd has got to be the best work. Is like the more stuff you bought, he just started taking crazy. He didn't even ask. He's like, I have 10 on that, but I'll do 5. I've got 20 on that, but I'll do 15.
Well, that's my kind of odd. That's my kind of odd.
Everything in there is his, but it's all for sale.
Well, so he's selling his collection, kind of. I mean, he's always getting new stuff in, but I can see that. I can see that.
So I mean, and again, I think some of the things that he had like a little bit more of an attachment to, but if you were to ask, he's going to sell it, which is what we've talked about.
Well, no, that's a thumbs up in my book, because how many times have we complained about going somewhere, seeing something really cool, and like, oh, that's not for sale. That's my personal collection. Don't put it in the store.
Yeah, he clicked off every box, but then the offer that he made me. And you remember how hot it was. It was like 100 and something degrees. He said, hey, like right next door, I have a warehouse. If you want to go dig. And Cassandra's like, we have to go eat. Like, no, you cannot go dig. And I'm like, sure?
Okay, well, ask him, is he available next weekend? And we'll both go dig.
Oh my gosh, man. Like, and just thinking of the stuff that he had in store, like what could possibly be over there. Oh my gosh, man.
Yeah.
But he was his name's Brandon Ross. He's unbelievably nice. Very fun to talk to. He almost reminds me of the guys from the Toy Monster podcast.
Oh, yeah.
He just kind of puts off that vibe, and I thought he was awesome, man. And
well, we owe Cassandra a birthday dinner, so maybe we should try to work on a trip to Charlotte and and then we'll take you and her to dinner.
find
for
a
her
new
birthday.
place in Charlotte that I want to take you to, and I can't remember the name of it right now. It's not Sir Edmund Hillary, but it's something very similar. But it was a really good pub, and their
Oh,
food is
okay,
awesome.
cool.
I
Oh,
mean,
cool.
it was
Definitely.
amazing food. And we ate there one night, which was really nice. But no, man, Red Genesis was
Would you
unbelievable,
say
man.
that's the highlight of the things you found during your trip,
Uh,
or the other ones?
I mean, probably the highlight would be, yeah. I mean, yesterday is of all the searching and stuff that I've done would probably be yesterday. But no, Red Genesis of the Charlotte trip certainly the highlight. Although I can't, the Sleepy Poet Antique Mall is pretty awesome. Although if you want to call somebody, you have to literally run from the middle of and it is a huge warehouse. You have to run outside. There's zero cell service because
Yeah,
I'd
okay,
found some
got it.
stuff my
Yeah,
stepdad wanted, and I kept having to run outside to send him pictures and run back to the space and take more pictures.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. That
but
was we were in a similar situation when we had dinner with Diane, our mother-in-law, and her husband Rick. The restaurant we ended up eating at apparently is in a cell dead zone, because it's the first time I've ever seen my phone. Not only did I not have cell service, I literally had the satellite SOS icon, meaning I basically could send like I could call 911 if necessary
yeah,
through the satellites. And I'm like, I've never seen that before. I've never seen it so dead
yeah,
that I
they
had
do live
nothing.
out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, yeah, they do. But
It's
so
way out there.
I can get the having to run outside or get somewhere to make a call.
But in the Sleepy Poet, they also have an attached record store, which I guess is kind of
Hmm.
part of the antique mall, but part not. I am kind of still kicking myself for one of the records I didn't buy, and
Oh,
it had all of the old Marvel cartoons, like the Thor and Captain. It had their theme songs.
oh yeah. How was it expensive?
It wasn't that it wasn't too expensive. I just that was like the first place that I went into, and I was like, I don't want to, spend everything here and then walk through the antique mall. Or, I mean, I knew
Mhm.
we were going some other places and go somewhere else and find something. So I put it back for now. I have a picture of it. I know where to get it. But
That sounds
attached
amazing. Yeah.
attached to that was a comic book store, and everything in there was 40% off. And Cassandra
Oh,
found a bunch of New Kids. I found all those Sherlock Holmes comics. I mean, a bunch.
those were awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they apparently are. They reprinted like the mid 50s newspaper comic strips from the New York Herald.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
that
so
if I'm not mistaken, I'd have to look at the picture. Wasn't the publisher was the publisher Eclipse?
it's right here on the desk. Yeah, Clips.
Yeah, Eclipse actually kind of did a lot of that. Like they also printed comics republishing the old Tarzan
Okay.
daily newspaper strips and stuff like that. Very cool find. Those are definitely,
Well,
because that's
yeah, but
something like if I ran across those, yeah, I'd definitely probably grab those if the price
and
was right.
everything was 40% off.
Oh yeah, and then that
So
helps.
$3 and then 40% off. Okay.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah,
you
yeah,
don't have to.
yeah. I'll take that all day long.
So I mean, we bought a bunch of comics, and I knew we were going to look around. And so the record kind of fell back. I have to have it, if nothing else, for the cover. And I'll send you those pictures when this is over. But it was pretty amazing. But no, man, the trip to Charlotte was awesome. Um, we stopped off at Clark's on the way back home and had like late lunch, early dinner. And Clark's is always good. We grabbed a milkshake to go and hit the road. So, but
That
it
place
was,
was great. That's the Clark's snack bar in
yep.
Charlotte. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That place was amazing. I definitely want to go back there.
Yeah. The hot
Like I
dog was just
said,
as good, man.
yeah.
God,
Yeah, I
so
might
good.
have to just get one of those hot dogs next time.
I didn't get any fries. I mean, nothing. I just got the hot dog and I was
Yeah.
fine. I mean, I had eaten, Cassandra skipped lunch that day for some reason because she was picking me up around 2. And so I think she kind of skipped eating lunch. And so she was really hungry. But even she didn't even get fries. We just skipped the fries. We just had burgers and hot dogs.
Yeah, yeah. Well, their stuff's so filling and big
Yeah.
that you really don't need the sides. The sides just slow you down.
Yeah, then we hit the milkshake after, which
Oh, and
is
of course,
that might be a must from
yeah.
now
Oh, yeah.
on.
I would say that's definitely, yeah. Hold it till after the meal. Use that
Yeah.
as your dessert. Take it with you.
But no, overall, man, I mean, the Charlotte trip was awesome. Um, and found some really cool stuff. I came home with some nice things. I know Grant was able to get I mean, I don't want to call it a grail, but it was pretty high on his list. He got the original Slimer from the Real Ghostbusters. And he got the Real Ghostbusters. I guess it's like either part of the fan club or the little ID card that you would put in your wallet. The
Hmm.
same guy, Red Genesis, he had that for sale. And like I had sent Grant a picture and he's like, is any of that for sale? And then he just starts sending Cassandra like pictures with stuff circled. I want this and this and this. So we picked up some stuff for him because he was at home watching the dog anyway. So we owed him some money. Anyway, so but no, man, it was great. But that I mean, I guess it's kind of grail-ish to get that Slimer for him. It's nothing. It wasn't like a massive thing like a My Pet Monster,
Yeah,
or the Eagle.
the eagle.
What's
Yeah,
the story on the Eagle?
to give people background, uh, one of the toy stores we love going to, Collectors Confluence in Archdale, North Carolina. They posted on Friday night, was it, that they had gotten in a Mattel Space 1999 Eagle One lander. And so I called yesterday trying to find out, because I pinged them on Facebook about the price and didn't hear back. So I called them. Unfortunately, going to the middle of nowhere, my cell signal was terrible. I was able to talk to him for a few minutes. Found out they're asking 400 for it. He did tell me that it's missing one of the retro rocket pods on one of the landing legs.
Okay,
Those are the little pegs, the gray peg things, supposed to be the retro rockets.
all right,
He did say that some of the stickers are a little jacked up, and he said none of the figures have the stun guns, and that's probably to be expected because how small those figures are. You got one for
well,
me,
yeah, they're
and
tiny.
the stun guns are like microscopic, and so the
Okay,
idea that those would still be with them. So anyway, like I said, I was trying to find out like what they're like. I didn't know if they were closed on Sundays. Turns out they are closed on Sundays. Um, so I really didn't get to talk to him about like if they're interested in doing any trade or anything like that. So I need to contact them again. I'll probably try to call them from work tomorrow
all right.
and see, because they're open on Monday, I believe. They're
I
not.
think they're open every other day. Yeah.
Okay. So I may call them because I could be interested. Like I'm interested. I don't know that I'm interested in paying $400.
Okay.
Um, but I might be open to trade. I don't know what they would be looking for, because I was even thinking I'm still trying to sell that the big deluxe Batman the animated series Batmobile, and I'd be interested in seeing if they'd be interested in trade on that. I don't know if they'd even be interested in that. Still in the box, still mint in the
I'm
box and
sure they
everything.
would. I mean, that's definitely
Yeah, that
something
would at
that's
least knock
yeah.
some of the sting off of the price of that. But I'm still, I've got until tomorrow because they weren't open today. So
Yeah.
I'm still giving it some thought. I'm still sleeping on it, thinking about it.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, that's definitely something I would love to get. It's even with the some of the stickers being messed up, that I'm not as worried about, because I do know that you can actually get replacement sticker. Like they're
yeah.
like, I think even the Anderson company, because they've reproduced that eagle
Yeah.
in a modern toy. And I think you can actually order like replacement sticker sheets. And so I could probably even clean it up and make it look even better. But yeah, like I said, the only thing is I'd have to figure out how to replace that rocket pod. And to be honest, I'm sure there's somebody on Etsy who 3D prints that kind of stuff.
I'm sure there is, but I would want the original piece if I could find it. But it's just finding a grail is just so much fun. And
Yeah.
it really is awesome. I know this weekend at the toy show that I went to in Hillsville, it was, man, goodness gracious. You talk about not being able to move. That place was not set up for people to move around very efficiently at all. You could barely walk two people down an aisle, and it was packed in there, man. But I went through, I did a quick run through just to see if anybody had like a giant bag of adventure people for sale or anything. Saw a bunch of cool stuff. There was
I did hear that you found a grail for Cassandra.
we did hit a grail for Cassandra
just in time for her birthday today.
It was, even though I'd already bought her Spirit and Freedom from GI Joe. I have had that in the bag for a while for her because I knew that was one of the ones that she doesn't have. And finding both of them in good shape, especially the Eagle without the feet being broken off, is pretty hard to do. And luckily the guys over there at Recollect, they held it back for me until I made sure that was something that she wanted, and it was. So I went back over there one day after school and grabbed it. So I've had it since school was in, so it's been a while that I've had that. But no, as I went through and saw a bunch of stuff, and I had some things in mind. I was kind of doing a slower walkthrough, and there was a lady that had E.T. and Strawberry Shortcake and Get Along Gang, like a lot of the stuff that the girls would have grown up with. And I saw some, some Gremlins things that I was looking at, but I started digging through her stack of games, and there it was, the Tomy fashion plates in the box. And it had $30 on it. And I was like, sold. I'm buying this. But I wanted to make sure it had all of the pieces to it. So I took it out of the box. It might be maybe missing one of the body pieces, but I can't tell. I need to look up how many pieces that came with, because on the box itself, it looks like that's always a little bit lower than everything else. But as I was looking at it and putting it back in the box, she just randomly says, I've had that for a long time. I've never done that. I'll sell it to you for $10. And I'm sitting there thinking, lady, you just lost 20. Like, because $30 was coming out of my wallet real fast. And so I could kind of see Cassandra, because this was not a very large venue. It was like an old, like a VFW. I mean, it's a tiny little place.
Right.
So I call her, I see her. I'm like, I know you're looking at GI Joes, but you have to come over here now. And honestly, man, for a moment, I thought she was going to cry, man. Like when she saw the box, like she was like, oh my gosh. And then she just kind of stood there like dumbfounded. And she's like, this is like getting a piece of your childhood back. And so she was, I mean, I think she understands, you and I and our love of comics and toys and finding things. I think she gets it. But that's one that we've looked for a long, long time. I mean, a long time. And to finally able to check that one off, now I have no idea. I don't know what else is on her list of things other than that stupid Dukes of Hazzard tent that I'm never going to find. But I mean, I say that maybe I'll find it one day. But that would be a tough one.
Yeah, with Laura, I know, I basically know anything vintage, Happy Days with the Fonz on it specifically, or Dukes of Hazzard is always going to be a winner. That's always going to be a winner.
I did get Laura something in that Sleepy Poet. I got her that Fonzie TV guide.
Oh yeah. She's excited about that,
which is pretty awesome. That thing is neat, man. I got the Incredible Hulk. It's got the Incredible Hulk, and I don't remember the actor that played Banner on there in the 70s TV show. I can't remember his name. I know it's Lou Ferrigno and the other guy.
I wish you hadn't said that, because
it's Lou Ferrigno and the other guy,
and the other, and he was like Bill Bixby.
There you go, Bill Bixby. You're correct. I picked that up because it was neat, and then I picked up a TV guide for you that I think you're going to think is pretty awesome. And we probably should do some.
We should do. TV guides could be a whole hobby in and of itself, because there's so many like pop culture moments
Oh yeah.
that are important to me from my childhood and stuff, that if I start going down the road of TV guides, I'm just gonna I'm that's a whole rabbit hole in and of itself, because everything from Star Trek to superhero TV shows to the action TV shows. Yes, there you go. There you go.
I mean,
You got that for me, or
yeah. No, yeah, man.
okay? You nailed it. You nailed it. That'd
It's
be
got a whole
definitely one of
section on
the
Atari.
video game shoppers guide. We got to do a whole episode about that.
Yeah,
There you go.
1982's
There
best.
you go. Oh wow! Just 1 year from the video game crash too. That's amazing. That's
Yeah,
wonderful. I love that photography method too, where you've got the Hulk in the background and they've got that semi-translucent David banner in the front.
Yeah.
And it reminds me, do you remember in the 80s the big thing where I think my parents, there's even one of me where it's a portrait of my parents
Yes.
with a black background, and then it's my silhouette looking off into the sun. I'm like, why couldn't they have done that cover? How funny would that have been with the Hulk rampaging, and you just have David Bixby staring off at the stars? And
no, those J.C. Penney's, the Olin Mills pictures were horrible, man. But no, I found, and it's odd, man, because yesterday I found a huge collection of TV guides too. But honestly, I'm going to keep the ones that I found. I think I'm just going to keep them on the coffee table.
Yeah.
And just let them sit there. And if somebody wants to pick it up and read it, awesome.
Well, that's why. Well, I might put them in a bag, like a plastic bag. Like I have those pulp magazine size bags that those will fit in. I'll give you some of those.
All right.
Because that way, at least they're not just getting ratty all the time. But yeah, I'm like you. I actually, have we have the half bath downstairs that I affectionately call the Fortress of Solitude, and for a while, I actually had that Superman trash can you gave me from the 70s, and I had comics and stuff in there.
Yeah.
But I eventually took it out and moved it in here into the den where I record and where I work. But I still want to keep stuff like that in the restroom so that, hey, if anybody wants to read that, read it. Because I have such fond memories of going over to my aunt's house as a kid, and they had an old metal wastebasket, and they just had it stuffed with comics. Their kids, my cousins, were older than I was. They all grew up in the 70s. They were all teenagers and everything. And so they just took all the comics that my cousin Eddie used to read as a kid and just stuck them in there, left them in the bathroom. And every time we go for a visit, I'd drag that trash can out and just start reading. And looking back at it now, there was some, that was like early 60s Marvel stuff. Who knows what was actually in there? I'm not going to say that there were keys or anything, but I do know there were a lot of Avengers and Spider-Man and all of that. And I'm like, oh, whatever happened to that?
Yeah, I did find.
I'm sure they got thrown away eventually.
Probably. I did find a spinner rack for sale yesterday.
Oh,
but they wanted $1,200 for it.
You are kidding me. That is ridiculous.
That's I told Cassandra.
That's crazy.
I was like, if that's how much they are, I'm going to take that off my list of things that I want, because that's way out of my price range.
You can find it better than that. That you can. Like I said, mine. I think I paid $300 or $400 for it.
That's a little more. That's kind of what I was hoping. Like, I think 2 to 3 is what I'm really wanting. And other than that, I just won't have one, because that's just.
They may have gone up, and especially the old vintage ones. They may have gone up a bit, but $1,200. That's like, that would have to be like, I wouldn't even pay $1,200 if it were pristine mint, looked like it just came off the assembly line.
It didn't, but it was like, man, but I haven't seen one for sale in a while, so it was kind of cool being able to see one. It's like, okay, that's kind of nice. But no, The Hillsville Toy Show was, I don't want to say a last second thing, but Cassandra had mentioned that Recollect was doing one of their trade nights.
Yep.
And as we were looking at possibly going to that trade night, which we missed completely, we found that Hillsville was doing their thing. And I remember going to the one before, and I told her, I was like, hey, we found some really cool stuff the last time we went there. People weren't asking a whole lot of money for things. I was like, we should go to this. And so we got up, and I thought Grant was going to go, but he didn't. But we went up there, and I found another Fisher-Price adventure person. It's the same guy that I already have, but his boots are different. And I looked on the Fisher-Price collecting, and they actually list them as two different characters because of that one little difference in the boots. So it's like, all right, cool. I added another one to the list. I'm getting closer to getting them all, which was cool. And Cassandra actually found that digging through a bin of random figures. But we got some cool stuff. I did see the creature, the Remco creature. I think, I maybe should have bought it, but I'll find that again. I'll find the Remco creature again. I left him there, but there were some really, really cool booths there. I know I sent you a picture of that, the Enterprise, the Mego Enterprise.
Yeah, that was that. I wasn't sure where you were. That one looked like it was in really good condition. It looked
$75 is cheap,
and that was cheap. Like I know the Brothers Toys in Burlington, they have one, but it has the common problem a lot of those, considering that it's literally just a cardboard box with vinyl plastic, stretched over it. And, a lot of times you'll see them, they look collapsed because the cardboard has kind of given way on the inside, so it doesn't have a rigid structure. Speaking of that would be an interesting video series to see if anybody, I've never seen Toy Polloi do it, but I wonder if anybody repairs those, because technically, thinking about it, you should be able to possibly repair that. You may have to cut open the vinyl a little bit, so then resealing it might be an issue. But, if you could take the cardboard out and replace it, even with something more rigid, like plastic, like styrene plastic sheets or something, you could probably kind of restore one of those old Enterprise.
If I ever find one that's beaten up and broken down for cheap at a yard sale, then we'll figure
maybe
that out.
We'll have to start looking at a way to fix that, because the reason they collapse in on themselves is just because there's nothing but cardboard in there.
Yeah.
And so if you could get that out and replace it with even new cardboard, or like I said, rigid styrene plastic or something, probably be better than ever. The hard part that I would see would be cutting the seams on the vinyl to get it out, and then how do you reseal that? So that
I'm sure there's a way to do that.
I'm sure.
Now, I kind of going back to the Grail topic.
Well, before we get on to that,
sure.
Before I want to insert here, I want to thank you for giving us our latest addiction. Laura and I have been fascinated by those poster restoration.
Oh my God, I love that channel, man. I love that channel.
Hey, we've seen some amazing. We watched them restore an original 1960s haunted mansion poster.
I watched the same one.
It was actually from 1974, I think, is when the poster was made, and it was torn. And that not only is that's just so relaxing to watch.
It is a very relaxing channel.
Not quite ASMR, but very close.
Pretty close.
But just fascinating on how they restore. Well, did you see the one? And then I'll get back on track.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry. Did you see the one where the guys? It's two twin brothers, and they found a Marvel Toys for Tots poster in a Burger King window in 1969. It was art by Jack Kirby, and they asked the manager of the Burger King if they could have it, and he said sure. And they came back after Christmas, and he gave it to them, and they've had it hanging in their room as kids, and now they're older men. And so they took it to this place, and they completely restored it. It looks pristine white. They even filled in the pinholes from where it had been pinned. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I'll have to send you a link to this British TV show that I really love. It's called The Repair Shop.
Okay.
It's inside of an old barn. And that everybody in the barn has a specialty. Like there's a guy in there that specifically works on clocks. There's a lady in there that she works on old teddy bears. One of the guys is mainly about furniture. One lady does paintings. One lady does ceramics. And sometimes it's just fun, but there's a guy that brings in his original Daleks from the Doctor Who series, and they don't talk anymore, and they give him to the clock guy, and I'll leave it at that so you can watch
Okay.
it.
I can't wait to see that.
It's
Yeah.
it's a fun episode. But like back to the Grails, in the Hillsville area, I was able to actually hold one of your Grails and had a conversation with the guy. It was the Hoth battle.
Oh, the cardboard
The
AT-AT?
cardboard, yeah, in the box. It's the same guy. It's the same guy from Archdale. And
Okay, yeah. He's the one I had talked to years ago and told me he had one at the box. But every time we go to Archdale, he's never there.
It's the same one, but I think this was the interesting thing, and I kind of was holding on this till tonight because I had it in my notes. He wanted to let you know that he definitely is up for negotiation and talking about that. So I don't know that that's his price on that is fixed. So you probably could talk him down a little bit, and that's much less than the Eagle.
No. I'm totally up for that, especially in the box. Because
yeah, and I know that was
I would love to have the box for that. And so, is he okay? We're going to need to talk maybe off air about how do I get in touch with him? Like, how do I get in touch with?
We'll figure that out.
Yeah, because he probably like I said, we've gone to Archdale a couple of times, and I had always hoped that he would be there. Unfortunately, because it's in an antique mall, so the owner of the booth doesn't have to be there all the time.
Yeah,
but he's never been there, and I've never seen it out like in his regular stock of stuff.
He was like, hey, do you want to take everything out and look at it? I'm like, no. I was like, you've talked to my brother-in-law before, and after some conversation, he seemed to remember.
Yeah, just tell him we met him at the. Yeah, I wish you'd done this before you met him. Just tell him, yeah, you met him at the comic book convention that had the live wrestling, because we went to the High Point Comic-Con. That I don't know that they do it anymore, but because this was several years ago, but they literally had a wrestling ring set up in the middle of the convention, and they had wrestling going on because several of the guests were wrestlers.
Okay,
so he might remember that.
Sure. When I was there, because this was also put on by those Inside Pitch people, the same people that put on the show in Raleigh, and the same people
that don't put on the show in Winston anymore.
They are coming back to Winston in December.
Oh, okay. Oh, really? So they are. See, I don't see that on their list of shows for this year.
I have a bunch of flyers. I don't know if it listed the one in.
Is it going to be back at the fairground, or are they finding a new venue?
I do not know. Probably, I would think the fairgrounds would be where they would go with that.
Yeah, that's a great venue.
It is a good venue. So I'm excited about that.
Me too.
I
thought we were going to miss out this whole year.
Well, the one in NC State stunk, man, because it was 80 to 85% cards, and the toys were. There just weren't a lot. Now, I got some cool stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was able to get some cool things, but
we should try to go to the Hickory one. We've gone to the Hickory one before, and I got lots of cool toys. Like I found Mattel's original DC Universe line of figures from the 2000s. I found a guy there. He had I won't say it was a full run of them, but he had figures I had never seen before in person. And I went nuts. I spent way more than I should have.
I hear that the Hickory,
but I've heard that one was a great show. I would love to go back.
Yeah, I keep hearing about how awesome Hickory is, and one of the GI Joe guys was trying to tell Cassandra to make it there because he's actually going to bring his parts. And then there was another guy that was like, "Hey man, I'll dig out all my Fisher Price Adventure people and make sure I take them to that show. So, I mean,
There's
I kind of
also
want to go to.
there's also a really good comic store in Hickory too. The
There is,
Comic
yeah,
Mon store.
yeah,
Yeah, that's always worth going to.
yeah. And if you're at Hickory, we're not too far from the Spot,
Yeah.
which is where I picked up some stuff for you before. But no, the same show though in Hillsville. I was looking through the comics and I found that copy of that G.I. Joe with the snake eyes in the. I know you're looking for all the ones with
Yes,
the
I
frames.
appreciate you finding that one. Yeah, the 20 Marvel 25th anniversary frames. Yep.
And I don't think that was a bad price on that at all.
Oh no, not at all. Yeah, and I'll gladly pay that. Because yeah, that's one more. Like I said, I'm slowly building. That's kind of a last minute thing where I had picked up some and I really liked them, and I remembered like they bring back a lot of nostalgic feelings looking at them because you know I was into comics. I think I've told you this. But I was more of a DC guy, and my friends I went to high school with were more Marvel guys, and they were the ones that were like Zach Upright. I remember to this day, he was like, "Oh, are you reading like? Oh, have you read X-Men?" And this was right around the time I think of the Mutant Massacre was the storyline going on. He's like, "Oh man, you got to read this," and he did the classic move that any true comic man will do: is go here, Barney, read these, take these home and read them. You're gonna be hooked. And he was right. He was right.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, like the comics there were, well, not all of them. Most of them were reasonably priced. There were a couple there that were a little, I mean, they loved what they had. There was one guy, I walked up to his booth and he had a copy of The Thing on VHS. And I thought I was going to have to pay a fortune for that, man. And he's like, it's $1. I'm like, okay. Grant's going to be excited about that.
Yeah.
And so I picked that up, but then Cassandra went back to him and found some more copies and different ones that I didn't have of the Mad Balls. And she picked up a Slimer and a Real Ghostbusters from him. And he was super cool because he was the one I was like, hey man, do you have any Space 1999? And he's like, you're not going to believe this. He's like, watch me pull this out of my ass. I'm like, never mind, sir.
Yeah.
I don't think I want that copy.
Yeah.
And like the people around started laughing. And so it got to be a huge joke because everybody was like watching. And then I get it. And it's like issue number 1. I'm like, I sent it to you. You're like, I've got 5. And so I was like, hey.
I loved it when you sent that to me because you're like, do you have this one? And yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because I bought that recently because I bought my latest copy of it
bought in Charlotte.
In Charlotte, yeah. And then I get home, and as I'm going through boxes, organizing my collection and everything, I have literally got 5 copies of Space 1999 #1.
Well, one guy,
I actually have multiple copies of almost every issue except the like I'm missing 2 issues.
Okay.
Those are the only ones I don't have a copy of. Everything else, I have at least 2 copies of.
But
which is great.
Yeah. The one guy's like, 5. He's like, that's an odd number. He's like, who in the world wants an odd number of a comic book?
Oh yeah.
He's like, you've got to let him know
that's a good salesman right there.
It wasn't even the guy that was running the booth. This was like one of the people still laughing about him pulling a comic out of his butt. But the guy was super nice. And it was like, hey man, most people, when I say, do you have Space 1999, they either ignore me or they say no. And they don't even bother looking. This guy like immediately jumped up and started digging, which I thought was awesome. And he kind of knew roughly where it was. And he found it. And I was like, oh man. And I think it was $5, which is a great price for that comic.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. I've actually, if you look at it, depending on condition, I will say the one I bought in Charlotte is the highest grade copy I've ever that I have. It's literally, it's as perfect as a Charlton comic can be, considering they were printed on the cheapest of cheap paper. They were, we could do an entire deep dive into Charlton comics, and maybe we should. because the history of Charlton Comics is actually very interesting in and of itself as to how this company even came to be and the reason they existed. And the whole reason, just to give you a slight preview, the entire reason the two guys who founded the company both met in jail. That tells you something.
Yeah.
They literally were printing. The way they got into comics is they were running printing presses, printing sheet music. Okay, and I think they had gotten into printing catalogs and mail order stuff too. And literally, the way they got into comics is that there were gaps in their printing schedule, and it literally was more expensive to stop the presses than it would have been to just start a comic publisher. And so that they literally, the way they printed Charlton Comics is they would fill in their production schedule with comics just so they wouldn't have to stop the presses, because it was more expensive to stop and restart the presses than to keep them running 24 hours a day, which just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Well, and like I said, the backstory of why these guys met in jail is a funny story in and of itself.
Yeah, I know that, and I don't know. I have no idea where I was now. Oh man, I did find another Charlton for you. I found that $6 Million Man.
Oh, that's a good one, and I don't have that one. And
I'm glad you don't.
I hadn't really been on a $6 Million Man collecting thing, but now that I'm getting now that I'm closing in on finishing the Space 1999 run, yeah, why not? I basically want to do any of the old Charlton stuff. I already also collect a lot of their old horror stuff, which I know you recently read a Charlton horror comic that was not good.
Well, I mean,
a lot of them, I'm going to be honest, are not good, but they still have an endearing quality about them.
No, I love the cover. I guess it's kind of my fault. I don't know enough about them. And so I kind of did a quick search about what is this about? Because it's like monster hunters. Mm-hmm. And the description online was a group of people that hunt monsters. I'm like, oh, if this is a recurring thing where these guys are out hunting monsters all the time, I want all of them. And so what it turned out to be was a collection of stories of people that hunt monsters, which honestly,
so it's an anthology, right? Like it's kind of like the Twilight Zone and all that. Every story is kind of different. It's not like an ongoing continuity.
Yes. And so, I mean, maybe I need to give it another shot. Maybe I need to find another copy of something like a different number and try it. And I may end up thinking, nah, this is not for me. Or I might be like, oh, okay, this one was a little bit better than the last one. I was just really kind of hoping for a group of people, and that's their thing, is they go around hunting all these monsters, which would have been, that's checks all the boxes for me.
The cool thing I love about Charlton Comics is that so many of the people that went on to become absolute legends in the comic industry kind of got their start in one way or another at doing Charlton Comics. Like Space 1999 is a great example. One of the things that, not only did I love that show, but then as I started collecting the comic books, I realized that the artist on the early issues of that is John Byrne, who's one of my favorite artists of all time, writers. He's a great writer. He recently just released, they just published his X-Men Elsewhere graphic novel, which it was John Byrne's fan fiction about the X-Men, because he worked on the X-Men with Chris Claremont back in the 80s. And I guess you could say he's not a huge fan of the direction that they've taken the X-Men. So he started basically doing these online web comics years ago of a continuation of the story and the direction the X-Men were going when he worked on it in the 80s. And they became so popular that Marvel now has, like, they published it as a hardcover graphic novel. I think it's actually going to be a 3-volume trilogy. And so I actually picked up the first one. And so, but like when I look back at those old Space 1999 comics from the 70s and realize, oh my Lord, these were done by John Byrne. And you can see that John Byrne style there.
Yeah.
He's young and it's just new, but you can still see it like in the design of his faces and heads and everything. And so that's great. Dick Giordano was kind of like the editor-in-chief there before he went on to bigger, better things at DC. So
yeah,
so that's what I love about the Charlton. You'll find you would be amazed how many times you'll flip through and go, wow, this art's really good, or this story was really good. And then you look at it and go, well, no wonder. Like this guy went on to be like one of the all-time greats.
Yeah, that reminds me of the other day when I was just doing some research on something, and it said the Mighty Men and Monster Maker, which is like the guy version of the fashion plates where you can make monsters, were created
You have that,
by,
don't you?
I actually have two of them. I have one
Yeah.
that's in a box sealed, and I have the one that I got in Hillsville, which is missing some pieces, but I kind of wanted to have it because it's open. But it's the artist who did Rocketeer. I remember
Dave
sending you something.
Stevens?
I think that's, yeah, I think
Wow.
so. So what'll be interesting is like maybe I'll bring the one that I have over and we can look at that and see if you notice anything about the monsters that he drew for that. If you see anything,
That one either slipped my mind or I missed it. I don't remember that, but
I'll have to resend that to you.
That is very cool.
But yeah, I was like, that's crazy. And I was like, man, like I know that he likes that, but he might actually want one now if he hears that.
Yeah, if I know it was, unfortunately, Dave Stevens passed away very young from cancer. Like I think he passed away in the 90s or early 2000s at the latest. So it's one of those things, unfortunately, could never, like that would be something that would be great if you could meet the artist and get them to sign it, because I love doing stuff like that when I do get a chance to meet an artist. Is sometimes I want the thing signed that they're best known for, but a lot of times you'd never know how excited or how much it makes their day for somebody to bring up something that a lot of people don't even know they did, or they did in their very early days.
Yeah, I know that on Dropping Names, Spiner and Frakes have mentioned how good it makes them feel when people come up to them at conventions and they mention the Broadway show that Brent Spiner was in. They have him sign like the playbill, or Frakes did something that they, like he directed something or something not a lot of people know that he was involved in. It's not that they hate Star Wars or not Star Trek. It's not that they hate Star Trek. It just makes them feel very validated when people bring up other things other than the big thing that they're known for. But I'm sure they're just as happy to sign pictures of Data.
Yeah, it's like when I had a chance to meet William Shatner. Yeah, I mean, there were lots of people that were in line, believe it or not, that were getting him to sign T.J. Hooker stuff. I saw one guy got him to sign I don't know if it was a movie poster. It wasn't like a big movie poster, so it might have been a lobby card or something from Airplane 2, which is cool.
Okay.
But of course, I'm like, I cannot go meet William Shatner and not have him sign something Star Trek, So
yeah, that makes sense.
I got him to sign the pre-release movie poster of Star Trek: The Motion Picture with the prototype of the new Enterprise on it. So I had to do that. But again, he was the coolest guy, very sweet. And that's what I love. I love meeting, a lot of times there are artists like that I have met and they're a little prickly. We'll just put it that way. And, that you can tell they don't enjoy meeting the public and stuff like that. So, and unfortunately, I've heard John Byrne is one of those. He's even going back in the day, is that he's kind of a prickly guy. So, it's one of those where he's not one that I'm like, ooh, I got to meet him someday, because maybe it's best if we just stay.
I think,
if I admire his work from afar.
Absolutely.
But then I have met other ones like Jose Garcia Lopez, who I literally, when I met him, I said, "You literally illustrated my childhood." Because if you look at a piece of DC promotional art or anything, I mean, the guy did the style guide for DC Comics in the late 70s, early 80s. But if you owned a pair of Batman pajamas, a pillowcase, a blanket, any promotional materials for DC, you owned a piece of his artwork.
So that sleeping bag I have, we think it's probably all him.
Now, I don't know. It would depend on how old that is, because I would say his stuff really started becoming the style of DC in the very late 70s, around the time of Superman the movie, through the 80s.
It's probably close
the
to
90s.
then. I'll have to look that up one day then.
Because and he was such a sweet guy. He appreciated it. I couldn't gush over him enough. I mean, he literally illustrated my childhood, and John Williams made the soundtrack to my childhood.
John Williams definitely is the soundtrack to it. I did pick up something that I never would have intended to pick up yesterday, but I'll probably never see it again. We were leaving an antique mall, and in a glass case, I happened to look down, and I was like, that cannot be what I think it is. There's no way. So I got down there closer and looked, and it was actually Homie the Clown from In Living Color.
Oh my God.
Like a stuffed,
Oh.
And he even has the sock to wipe the kids in the head. And I was like, oh my God. And so I had the lady get him out of the case. And it really wasn't that expensive. And I was like, I don't need this, but I will never see that again. I mean,
no, I didn't even know they made that.
No, that's the thing. They made one toy. If you want to consider a stuffy a toy, they made one toy for In Living Color, and that's it.
Oh, it's too bad they didn't go at least 2 toys and do a fire marshal
bill. That's what we were hoping on the way to the car. Man, it would be really cool if Damon Wayans came somewhere around here. If he ever does a comedy show, I'm buying a ticket just so he can sign this, because there can't be many of these around, man.
No.
That's a fun character. We showed it to Grant because he was like, put that thing away. He's like, that's creepy. And then we showed him the skit, and he's like, never mind, that's hilarious.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, Homie the Clown. I mean, In Living Color was one of the best comedy variety shows ever.
Oh, I mean, in the 90s, man, it was better than anything.
It was definitely better than SNL at the time that it was on. I mean, Mad TV, the early years of Mad TV were pretty awesome too.
They were.
But yeah, In Living Color was just another level.
It was.
Look how many people went from that show
on to do big things,
to be legends
I know.
in entertainment. The Wayans brothers, Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
I mean,
David Allen Greer.
Oh, David Allen Greer.
Huge.
Yeah.
There's so many people on there that did big stuff. But no, man, I know we need to. Summer will disappear from me before it's over.
Yeah. I mean, we were even talking about it yesterday, that it's hard for me to believe we're kind of halfway through.
I know
the summer this year. But I did want to say before we go, we did, channel news. I was able, I've been trying to get some videos edited.
You've been crushing the videos.
And so I was able to launch the rest of the look at the DC Mattel action figures this week. Been getting some good feedback and some good responses from those. Not as much as the Batman. The Batman one's still crushing it. I mean, that one's probably one of our highest viewed videos now. That's
nice.
I did want to tell you that I definitely think you need to do a deeper dive on the Viewmaster stuff, because that one little 2 or 3 minute video you did over a year ago now, I think it's over a year ago, is still getting tons of traction. That's actually, I think, our highest viewed video on the whole channel. And we saw people commenting on that. Some people just commented on it again within the last month. And so I think there's definitely some interest out there to
I'll
to
jot
maybe
that
do
down.
a deeper dive into the Viewmaster stuff. I did see on Facebook Marketplace, the closest I've been able to get any retro hunting in is I have been looking at Facebook Marketplace to see if anything popped up, and there was a Star Trek II Wrath of Khan set of Viewmaster reels still sealed.
Ooh,
in the
nice.
not badly priced. I'm thinking about that one.
All right.
I saved it. I'm gonna see if it's something where if it's close enough that I might be able to sneak out at lunch one day and go pick it up. But
I hope so, man.
yeah, but I am working on another video. Not quite filming. I haven't finished filming yet, much less editing. And people know how slow I am at editing. But I am working on a really cool toy comparison video where I'm comparing some old toys to a new version of the same toy. I'm working on that right now. So I hope to have that done sometime this week.
That'll be good. Have you been keeping up with the Instagram page at all?
No, I would love to say I have. I have not. The Instagram page is really your domain.
Yeah, the Broken Tie Egon jar is getting in the thousands of views.
Oh, nice.
Every time I add a Broken Tie Egon to the jar, people are commenting, and 3,000 and 4,000 people are watching it. It's pretty funny.
You should start posting those as shorts to YouTube too.
I probably need to do that just to get them onto YouTube. I still have them.
I think you'd probably get some traction with the Ghostbuster community out there. Probably get a bit of traction on that.
I'll have to work on that this week to get some shorts, and I have the video that I'm working on right now too, so I'm hoping to get that out. And now that all the school stuff is done, I hope that I can get on a little bit of a more steady streak of posting stuff to YouTube too. But I don't know, man, it's been fun. But yeah, we got to set up something to we got to get at least one more thing in before the summer.
Yeah, well, I want to take a look at Red Genesis. Like I said, I know about it. I just have never been there. So we definitely got to get a road trip in to try and get down there. There's
and there's good stuff in Virginia too. Like if you keep heading up into Virginia, there's some toy stores up in those areas, like Judy's Toy Attic and stuff that I have on my list that I want to go to. I just have never really put together a trip to head up into Virginia, which is not that far for us, really. I mean,
no,
it's no different than driving to Charlotte. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff we can do, and I'm sure we can make a day of it.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
It'll be fun. All right, man. Well, please like and subscribe. That super helps out our channel. And if nothing else, throw a comment in there. Let us know what you want us to talk about so we can make this a little bit more interesting, a little bit more fan focused.
Yeah, we've got a few ideas that we're talking about too of subjects for future podcasts. But yeah, any feedback from you guys listening would be very helpful to let us know. What do you like us talking about? What do you not like us talking about? That doesn't mean we're not going to talk about it, but still, it really helps us to know man. What you would like us to talk about.
It definitely does help out. All right, Mac, we'll catch up with you soon, man. And to everybody out there, we'll see you soon.
Bye.